we're going to go on to our next. I love the subliminal stuff. We're going on to our next topic, and that topic is violence in video games.
Not true.
Video games are very violent.
No,
They're
it's
a
not
very
true.
violent medium. I want to talk a little bit about. There's been studies left and right talking about
Those
how
are
violence
untrue studies. Those are
violence in video games induces anger, anxiety.
that's-
People believe
Play.
that
Double
it is the cause of a lot of things, like when the shootings happened in Columbine.
It's the
These
devil's
kids
work.
were playing. They were playing. What is it? It wasn't Call of Duty. It was Counter Strike.
Yeah.
You know, they ridiculed everything from the movies they watched to the music they listened to, and most importantly, the games like GTA. And a lot of people see this and they want to make direct correlations to the violence that they're committing because they believe that this is something that they're playing often, and then they get like somehow brain warped into thinking they can do this in real life, or it's okay to do in real life. And so they want to. People tend to think, media specifically, people play this and then go out and execute it again.
Okay.
Dude, bottom line, they're just trying to figure out someone to blame, honestly. Because, like,
Yeah.
if you know your kid's a little off in the first place and you know they can't handle a game like that,
Preach, Steve.
you know what I mean? Like, they shouldn't be playing that video game in the first place.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do you think?
I think I differ from Steve.
He's out. He's out. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the bad boy. He's done for the day. He'll be back next week.
Okay, so I think that they do have an influence over us, and here is a situation that just went down recently. My wife, who is not a gamer, started picking up a video game, Skyrim, because her girlfriend's playing it, so she wanted to have something to be able to share with her girlfriend. She started playing Skyrim. She's been playing it for about 3 or 4 nights now, and she's loving the game. She thinks it's a great game. You know, it's a medieval kind of game. She's using swords. She's attacking people, doing all these different things, and she's not thinking anything to it. But it's got violence involved in it. She goes to have a dream. You know, she has a dream on her 3rd night, and she normally doesn't have any type of super violent dreams, but she has a super violent dream, and it's got to do with like kind of Skyrim style stuff, like sword fighting, all these different things. So even at a like subconscious level, she was absorbing all the violence, and it was that she was absorbing the violence often. She was doing it daily, 3 days in a row for 2-3 hours each day, playing it, that it was getting absorbed into her subconscious, that it expressed itself in the dream on her 3rd night.
Now,
So
do you
it's
think
like-
she's going to wake up and kill somebody over that, though?
No. I don't think she's going to wake up and kill. Now, there's 2 different things here, like where the topic is violence in video games.
Oh,
Is it so much like leading to killings, or is it just talking
does
about
violence in video games
lead to
Correct.
killing?
cause
I'm sorry.
or lead to
Violence
things
in
like
the real
mass
life.
shooting or violence in real life? Yeah, simply put, violence in real life.
Well, then I think that, so at that level, it's still becoming a part of her subconscious in some way or another. Some type of violent aspect is coming in her subconscious, and she's expressing it through her dream. Is it going to make her kill somebody? No, she's not unstable. She's not somebody that can't rationalize,
Right. Yeah.
between a bad dream, a game, and seeing the situations that are occurring, and then also having it go through. But here's one thing. When I play LOL, and I'm playing it often and all the time, it's becoming ingrained in my subconscious mind, where my thoughts outside of playing the video game tend to lie in some realm of LOL, like thinking of LOL, different things that I could do with it, different characters I could play, or whatever it be. Because I've been playing it so often, my mind becomes consumed by it. So if I'm playing some games that could be super violent in nature, like Call of Duty's, Battlefields, different things, like it's going to lead me to start. Let's say I have a bit of a screw loose, okay? Like we were saying, Steve says, like, okay, your child's got a mental issue. Just say I got a little bit of a screw loose, and my mind constantly gets like stuck on violence. Like I was saying, mine does, and I'm a healthy individual with LOL, or my wife's did, who's a healthy individual with her game. Like if I have a little bit of a screw loose, and my mind's stuck on violence, I might do violent actions. It might be something that's constantly in my mind. The idea of a violent action could be existent because I'm constantly thinking in a violent pattern. So yes, I think that there is some correlation. Do I think it's like the main correlation? No, I don't. The main correlation is that usually that individual has something wrong upstairs.
How do you explain? Okay, if you're making the correlation to these violent actions based off people who are mentally unstable, how do you explain situations where people have killed people before and done very similar, if not the exact same acts, in a generation that video games didn't exist?
Well, I'm not saying that, like, I'm not, I'm not saying that is the main reason of why they're doing any type of killings in the first place. We have people that are unstable. They've killed people in the past before video games. We have people that kill people today. I think that this helps. It does help influence the situation. Now, here's an example that I have. Is that if I'm listening to rap music and I'm listening to like Eminem and I'm listening to the thug gangster stuff and I love it and it's awesome for me and I'm just sitting there pumping it, I notice that I get a different perspective. The outcomes of how I react on the road or even the ways that I'm thinking, like with my nature of how I just walk, it changes. It changes how I'm going to behave, how I'm going to react in a situation.
But driving and walking is not nearly as detrimental to your and other people's lives as taking their life or being physically harmful.
Right.
So while you feel a different vibe and may walk
But if I was an
differently,
angry
those are
person,
different
or if
decisions
I was a person that had a kind of a screw loose, and then I'm adding to it, my day is I'm playing aggressive, violent video games, and then I'm listening to bad music or whatever. I call it bad music. It's good music, but music that can influence maybe a negative side, honestly. Like maybe it can make me more aggressive in nature. And I've already got a screw loose in my head. Who's to say that some guy doesn't like cut me off on the road and I get so pissed off that I'm a gunner and I just blast his face because I'm listening to some music that makes me feel like, yo, I'll kill a motherfucker every day. Yeah, and I'm gonna spray him, spray. You know, and it's like, and I'm just like sitting there like, yeah, I'm getting into it. I've got a screw loose already. I'm playing violent games all day long, and this guy cuts me off. Truly, genuinely pisses me off because I'm already kind of in that aggressive nature. You know, because I've been playing these video games, listening to this music for the past week, that doesn't make me pull out my gun and shoot somebody.
I mean, I guess I was gonna say, I guess I can kind of figure that out a little bit. But like, I think if I was to listen to music at work and it was calming music, I think I'd have a different aspect on people because they piss me off more.
Exactly.
So I'm seeing kind of where you're coming from, but because I'm trying to think of it because I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, at work, the people piss me off so bad. I'm sitting there thinking, like, if I was to listen to mad music or something like that, it'd probably make me more angry. You know what I mean? But I don't know about the whole video game thing. Like, that would make me more angry out during the day. Like, I know what you're talking about, subconscious and everything like that, because I've had LOL dreams and everything where I'm dreaming about, like, stuff, me playing the game and everything like that. But I don't know if that would affect me. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question and paint a picture for you. You guys all have worked out in the past. There's specific music that I'm sure you've found that motivates you while you're working out to do more, better, like just to like lift more, get more energetic, right?
Yeah.
When you're not working out and that song comes out, does it make you want to work out?
Makes you pumped, yeah.
It makes you pump, but does it make you want to work out? Do you go and work out after hearing that song?
No.
Okay, so then what I'm trying to draw from is that there's something in you that wants you to work out, right? It's not necessarily the song that makes you want to work out. You already feel like you want to go and work out. The song maybe amplifies something that you're already wanting to do and motivate.
But here, let's change this up because we're forgetting the factor of these people already have something screw loose. We're not those.
That's kind of my point. That's
so
kind of my point.
If I have a screw loose that says that I tend to like to have an addiction towards the working out, that song might trigger me to want to go work out if I'm not working out. You know what I mean? Like, let's say that screw though is now anger and killing, you know, and now it's not the gym idea. It's the song. It's the video game that makes you think of killing, or the song that makes you think of killing. And you've already got the screw loose of the tension or the possibility of being a killer.
I guess the way I look at it and what I'm challenging is that you have this inherent need to work out because you like it, because you want to do it. This is something you want to do. I am mapping that to someone who has this probably like a screw loose inherent need, like want to possibly take someone out, kill someone. You know,
by screw loose, just talking about like as far as people on medication and everything like that, because it inhibits like the receptors in your brain to like almost from right from wrong.
I mean,
like you just don't care. You just. I'm talking
about
zombie.
You can see these kids. I mean, you can see these people from kids stage to become adults. These other different stages where it's like you see them just flip out. Right, something small happens and they want to like beat the shit out of something, hurt something, do something.
Because
and then now they're playing. Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Is like so if I was inherently a person, because we were talking about the situation with the gym. If I wasn't like okay, if we're gonna use it as the context of a gym, then you have to think of it like this. If I have an like inherent nature to be a workout guy, right? And I hear that song, I'm gonna want to go to the gym. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what
Like,
I asked you. You said you
yeah,
didn't. You didn't.
Well, but I'm not an inherent want to go to the gym guy. Like that, I'm trying to say that if I was that though, and like if I was an inherent, I had that nature to want to beat the shit out of something. Anytime I got a little bit angry, and then you go and play me a video game that's really angry or music constantly. And there's a few different factors to this. One, where is their mental state? Obviously, the biggest factor.
Right.
Two, how often are they playing these? How long is it going on for the video games or the music kind of situation? Like, is it 3 months of it nonstop of the violent video games all the time, and the same with the games? Because then I could see where that's going to start to really dramatically influence their subconscious. Where is it? Oh, just a day? No, a day's probably not going to affect that person as much as long-term, like repetitive, shit being. It's like indoctrination kind of deal. You're indoctrinating that person into more violent influences. Like, now people are healthy mentally. It expresses itself in our dreams, like Steve was saying. You have a violent dream, you have LOL dreams, or you have this or that. You're not really thinking while you're playing the video game, I want to go kill somebody, because you have a healthy mind for the most part.
I guess what I'm trying to say is I think that they have this inherent need to hurt someone, and that if video games weren't a part of their life, or if they play video games, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna go do it anyway.
Right.
And they're probably gonna go do it regardless of if they play games that morning or if they don't. And I don't necessarily think that games, music, or movies trigger something where it's like, whoo, I gotta go out and kill someone now.
I don't think they trigger it. I think they can help influence it, though. So you're right. That person probably will do it regardless if they're playing the video games or not, but it can help influence it to make it happen faster, more often, whatever it be, I think, depending on how, like I was saying, often that they're consuming their daily life, around it.
Then what do you think about using it as a therapeutic tool? There's reasons why we want to escape reality, right? Like, potentially shooting someone in virtual reality is a lot better than shooting someone in real life. Do you think that there's any merit to like suppressing those feelings by just kind of like getting it out in a virtual space?
The brain doesn't see things to be different like that. Like, if you're going through that experience mentally, the brain reacts and experiences it the same as if you were actually doing it. So I don't know if I can think of it as being a therapy. Like, first off, it's like what Steve-O said, as parents, we need to identify the children who already have those innate, tendencies to want to go be violent in nature, and don't give them, obviously, any influence in the violent aspect. Showing them other directions, other ways of life that can be non-violent, because those ones that just keep getting more violence, I think that can influence children. And
that's really hard
adults.
to do. I mean, we're talking about everything from movies to TV to, this kid's got to live in a bubble.
Well, not really so much. I mean, I do that kind of as I will watch violent movies every once in a while, but really I stay away from violent movies. And
Disney movies are violent.
They honestly, there's a lot of stuff. There's even different Disney cartoons that we try to watch for our kids to make sure that, okay, this might not be a cartoon we want them to watch, because there's so much violence involved in it that's unnecessary.
Everyone dies in a Disney movie.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Rocco. I guess I'm just trying to challenge it a bit.
I'm sure it's difficult to try to identify. No, it's probably not that difficult. Like I said, you can kind of see those tendencies that children have at a young age. It's like they're playing with a toy. The toy gets taken. All of a sudden, they want to, throw the toy at the other kid's face, right? And then well, that kid's obviously got some tendencies right now to be pretty violent. Like, maybe we don't have him watching Power Rangers attacking one another, and then all of a sudden he thinks that, like, that's okay kind of thing to do. Go smack somebody with a sword, because now he's got a sword, a play sword, and he thinks it's okay to smack that kid because he's already got a violent tendency, and now he doesn't want to do it with
the kid that's so
his
angry that he punches and destroys his $3,000 flat screen TV. You've seen
but what you're doing is covering up the problem by taking things like away, instead of teaching them to be responsible with the medium that's out there.
My point is that it still has an influence. The main situation is having to make sure that you're handling that in the best way possible as a parent for that child or whatever growing up, because obviously when they grow up, if they don't have anything to help intervene at that point, they're going to grow up with that tendency, that kind of mindset. And it's like, now you got an adult who's probably not going to listen to anybody, that's like flips his shit over anything, so yeah, I think I stand with still, it influences. It doesn't make it happen. It's not the actual trigger. You know what I mean? It's not the trigger. It is something that can help influence. I think that what we surround ourselves with on a daily basis influences us. That whatever that be. If we can surround ourselves with violent video games and media and violent things in our lives, I think that we'll attract mindsets of that, more things of that. I think that if we were to put ourselves in a bit of a bubble, like you called it, and maybe we just say violent things are going to stay out of that bubble, but comedy, happy, fun things, whatever, if I want my life to be those things, then maybe I just surround myself with stuff involved like that. And I'm a hypocrite here because I play games that do have violence in them. But playing them gives me more of a stance on this topic because I feel like I experience those things like at a subconscious level. Not that I have a mental screw loose that I feel like I want to go, it causes a trigger to me want to shoot somebody, but I can see that I get more aggressive tendencies when I tend to play, aggressive games constantly or aggressive music constantly or aggressive movies.
So what I'm hearing is the core of your argument is that people with an unstable mental state are really those people that need to be watched and regulated in terms of what they're consuming and what they're participating in fear that it could not trigger, but that's where I get lost. I understand that it's really
more of it's not that it can trigger, just it could build more of a perspective towards violence.
What is bad about what degree does the influential material I don't know, how do you quantify that? A person who is mentally unstable, who watches violent movies and TV shows but doesn't play violent video games, what does adding violent video games do to that person and the timeline at which they're going to commit this act?
Maybe create more frustration for that person that leads to higher amounts of stress that puts them over that tipping point to cause an action. Maybe it's you're playing a video game, you're constantly losing, people are shooting you, you're doing terrible, whatever, and you're fucking fuck. You guys have seen those people that freak the shit out and throw the fucking controllers against the wall, and they're just and you're like, whoa, bro, take a fucking chill pill. You're making me have anxiety for acting out. It's a fucking video game, but they're going balls to the wall, nuts. And then he goes outside to go, play tag with his friends, and his friend doesn't play the game the way he thinks is fair, and then he snaps and takes a fucking stick to his face. Maybe he would have done it anyways, but maybe that stress and that frustration that led from that video game is what put him to the tipping point of hitting him with a stick, where he wouldn't have hit him with a stick, it would have took that point and then another point to have put him over, I don't know, that's just I could see that happening. I'm not a person that goes through that, but I have experienced other individuals that go through high amounts of stress when they fucking lose video games or they're doing bad in a game, and it's a it's not always a violent video game, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It could be just it could be a car racing game and he comes in 10th out of 10th.
So I guess so that's where I start to find the holes in the argument, where you're describing something on a generic level of something adding stress and frustration, but as we know, everybody has their own levels and things that stress and frustrate them.
But here's the thing: the brain still goes through stress just watching, like a killing happening in a movie. So so even if you think you're not stressing, you are still stressing. You're still putting your body in more amounts of stress for a choice. You chose to do that. You chose to watch a violent movie. You chose to play the video game. You chose to add more stress to yourself, whether you're aware of it or not.
Right, but you're saying then these video games could be influential, but theoretically anything can be influential. So if video games are in the category of everything, then are video games really the thing that's if everything is influential, then nothing
my
is
argument is that anything that's negative in any nature, if you've got him,
that could happen anywhere. He can stub his toe. He can lose keys. He could
or she could
cut her hair the wrong way.
Apply to the video games, and my stance is, then it would apply to that too, because it can apply to anything else. Why wouldn't it apply?
And that's my point. If everything is influential, then nothing is influential, and it brings me back to the point where this thing is going to happen anyway, and anything in the world can just set them off. You know what I mean? And so it's about training that person to deal with stress and anxiety, and potentially depression, in a way that they can combat anything. It's like, I think when you go, movies are influential and video games are influential, it's kind of a wrong. I think anything is influential, because and a lot of times that we're seeing, these people are bullied, they are alienated at school, which is a social feature. And so, I mean, you can go grocery shopping and have a really bad interaction with a counter attendant what do we? And if we apply the same argument that you're describing, it's don't go to the grocery store because you're gonna have bad interactions with and that's gonna trigger and you know what I'm saying? Everything then is on the table.
But I think that's something you need to be aware of if you're a person with a unstable mental state.
Correct.
Because
yeah.
stress is what puts you over that edge. There's something that's happening that's causing so much amount of stress that puts you to the point of wanting to kill some other individual. So monitoring your stress intake is a big deal. And that can so that means from anything. Everything in the world does influence us. I agree with that 100%. Everything is influential. So you have to be a monitor of what's coming in your bubble based off of do you want to have those extra stresses? Because those extra stresses can lead to you doing or saying something. How many people have been in an argument, you said something to that other person, you're like, I can't believe I said that. But you said that because you were so freaking stressed. Imagine if you're mentally unstable where somewhere in your beliefs, hitting your wife was not bad thing. It was an okay thing. And you get yourself to this super stress, and it's not saying something later on that you're like, God, I really regret that. But it's getting you to the point of where you hit somebody, and you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that. Or you're like, that felt good. Whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Alan, what do you think?
I had lots of thoughts throughout this conversation, but they've all been faded.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go on to our next topic. I thought that was good. It was pretty much Steve dropped the mic, Ninja vanished, and then Rocco and Clay pretty much bickered over some stuff.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
For the record, I do not believe video games make you do violent actions.
Yeah.
Not causation. I think that's what Rocco's saying, but Rocco then goes into a deeper level that I start questioning. But it's fine. It's cool. It's good.